Let's talk about another case that you have been following. It's the case of a young girl in Ontario who was taught in her classroom, quote, "Girls are not real and boys are not real." It's junk science to begin with. It's false. It's fake news. It's just untrue science-wise, but it really screws up young people who are conditioned to trust teachers and other people in authority. Tell me a little bit more about the case of Pamela and Jason Buffoni and their daughter.
Yes, this case came to my attention a few months ago, and I did write about it once before, but I'm writing about it again because the principal in this case, Pamela Buffoni, has taken her own experience to a much more positive level. But just to recap her case, her daughter, N, as she's referred to, came home from grade 1 class, very upset, very distraught, because the teacher had told the kids, she put up a big diagram, where are you on the gender spectrum, and do you feel like a girl or a boy or somewhere in between, encouraging the kids to take a position that was not entirely one side or the other. So she said, "I'm a girl." And then the teacher said, "Oh, well, girls aren't real and boys aren't real," meaning this was for her shorthand for gender fluidity, but how she expected 6-year-olds to understand this, I don't know. So this child was very upset by it. And in subsequent lessons, the same type of thing was being said again and again and producing great anxiety in this child. The upshot was eventually they did take her out of the school, but the parents tried to reason with, first they went to see the teacher, then they went to see the principal. Nobody saw anything wrong with these lessons being taught. They thought, well, perhaps she phrased it badly, and we're very sorry that your daughter is upset. But no, we have to teach these things because this is how it is. And we have to be inclusive, and we have to make sure everybody feels accepted, the usual stuff. Anyways, they got no satisfaction at all, going right up to the superintendent of schools, who just said, "Too bad about your daughter." She'll basically, in other words, have to suck it up. So they have taken a human rights claim. They have they are challenging the district school board in a human rights claim. They're represented by the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, on whose board I sit, with a very able lawyer, and I hope that they can make headway there. I'm not at all sure they will, because probably the human rights tribunals usually are going to represent an entire school board. If they win their case, it means the school board is going to have to revise their curriculum in the end.
Can you remind me, is this a public school or a Catholic school?
Yeah, public. It's very public.
So it's a government school, and now we hear a lot about science and science-based policy and evidence-based policy, and we see in the sex ed curriculum the 6 genders. Facebook says there's 53 genders. I forget how many the city of New York says.
71, Yes, 71.
71, there you go. So hyperinflation in genders. Look, they can't all be true. And I would put it to you, none of those things are true. But this is not, this is opinion, but it's being taught to children of tender years as fact. Is there anyone, yes, we could take on the school bureaucrats, but surely this goes much higher up the chain of command. Surely this goes right into the education minister's office, the premier's office even. One of the things that Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, campaigned on was reviewing these excesses. So I'm glad that this student and her parents are taking the school to the Human Rights Tribunal. I think they're going to lose. I think it's a kangaroo court. I think it's an activist group. But I don't think they should even have to go there. I think they should be pulled out by the root, by the Premier and the Education Minister. Where are they on all this whole thing?
Oh, as far as I know, they have not really done much on this file to change things yet. I don't know if it's still under review. I'm not really getting any information about if and when and how much is going to be changed, or maybe I don't think they're going to stop teaching trans ideology, I think maybe the goal is to put it off for a few years. But it's very hard to, as you say, pull it out root and branch. You've got the teachers' unions, you've got the educational establishment is all on side for this, and of course, the people teaching the educators in this places like OISE, they're the first ones to be on side because this is considered very progressive, and very science-based. I mean, it's not based in the kind of science you and I respect, but it's based in pseudoscience, which is good enough for them. It's a very uphill battle, but I would like to add that Pamela Buffoni and some of her allies, she's done remarkable work in starting a new publication, an online publication called the Canadian Gender Report. And this is all fact-based stuff with resources for parents to understand what their children are being taught and how to push back against it in an intelligent way and with evidence, not just frustration and anger. So I really applaud. She's kind of a hero to me because she's doing what has to be done in a very rational way.
Yeah. For folks who want to check that out, they can go to genderreport.ca. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant Show, which is a show I do every day. I do a monologue, interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. But you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at premium.rebelnews.com.